Welcome everyone to this webinar today. The webinar is about 20 important facts about love and relationship. All of us know that love is so complex, but at the same time is beautiful. It also can be sometimes challenging. So this presentation try to explore that um, facts that love and relationships, which are important in love and relationship, and they are also supported by psychological research. So we want to know, what are the foundations of healthy relationship and also why self-love is important and how research can help us to build meaningful connections with others. So the first fact about love and things which is important is that we prioritize self-love. Christine Neffs has done some work on self-compassion, which shows that people who treat themselves with kindness, they usually have more satisfying relationship with others. And the reason what is the reason behind that? The reason is that people who love themselves and they treat themselves with kindness, they don't accept everything. They try to set healthy boundaries. They are not clingy people. They avoid be codependent to others, and also they have healthier behaviors. So it's very then important that when we want to have a good relationship, we always pay attention to increase our self-love and work on that all the time. The second fact is relationships is a two-way street. So the equity theory says that people are happiest in relationship when there is a reciprocity. It means that there is give and take. It's a balance between these two. So it's not just one partner always give, and the other partners receive. It's usually a balance between giving and receiving. So some people say relationships should be like, 50-50. No, that's not like right. It can changes, it can varies. Like, sometimes our partner is sick or like, overwhelmed with like an event in their life, lost someone or like have workload or different things. So they cannot like put 50%, but our partner put 30%, the other one put 70%. But then when the circumstance change, then the other partner puts 70 or 80%. The other partner can put 20%. But the main things is like in long run, it would be like mutual in giving and receiving. But it doesn't mean in short term, it should be always 50-50. And if things changes, we need to leave the relationship. Be careful with this because this is a myth when we say it's always 50-50, okay? So, and the other things which is important is communication. John Gottman, we know they are like a famous couple therapist and they have done a lot of research about couples. They say that communication is the predictor of long-term success in relationships. So in relationship, Gottman usually warn people against using four horsemen, which are contempt, criticism, stonewalling, and also defensiveness. So be careful of these four things and try to use I feel a statement. When there is something wrong in a relationship, you want to bring that, say that I feel, this is not right, or I feel this, or I feel that, instead of starting blaming and saying you're always like this, you have done this and you did that. And when you start attacking, criticizing someone, they usually start defend themselves. and also start maybe attacking you, or the other way. Sometimes they shut down or run away. So they go to fight and flight mode. So it's very important that we do a right communication. So, and the other fact about relationship is we cannot avoid sacrifices. In relationship, it's very important that we will be ready for sacrifices. So interdependence theory um, says that successful relationship involve mutual dependence and compromise at the same time. I always say that it's very important to be flexible in the relationship. We cannot have a relationship without showing flexibility. So, for example, like when there is like a very important decision in a relationship, like for example, moving a city, like changing career and all this, it's very important that we do sacrifices, but at the same time, it should be like this decision should be made with respect, and we respect our partner's goals as well. So the other fact which is like so crucial is we know that we are not perfect and no one is perfect too. People are like zebras. So they have, why we say people are like zebras, because they have white and they have black parts, which means they are good traits and they have bad traits. So it's very important we don't take like attributes in a relationship. So just my internet a bit like showing me warning. If there was any problem in the voice, please let me know. So it's very important that we know this fact and we allow our partners to do mistakes. And if something wrong happens in a like relationship, we do a mistake, we apologize and we look for repair. So relationship is a journey from like it's always rupture happens in a relationship and repair. So this is very important that we know that it's normal to have rupture, repair. So, and it's very important we become good at repairs. So, then we let this imperfection evolve through time, grow with our partner. So instead of, setting like, fixed standards. So if we see there is a good partner, we have enough like attraction, we find someone, but there are good things and bad things, we can always weigh this and then allow our partners to grow. And it's the same with ourselves. So, and the other things, important things is trust. Trust is very fragile and it's not easy to build. It takes time to build trust. And they say that trust is like a fuel for a relationship. So, and building trust, according to Gottman, it needs having some rituals, some habits, and like creating this trust takes time. So it needs some small, consistent actions. For example, when we say something, we promise something, we keep our promises and try to be honest. When things, for example, are difficult, we try to avoid telling lie. So because when trust is broken, it's hard to build that. So these small like acts of showing up, consistent action of keeping our promises and being honest, they accumulate over time and they create a good foundation of trust. So what's the next one? The next thing which is so important is forgiveness. Some people say this is the most important things in a relationship. I heard it from, for example, Joe Dispenza. Say the good couples they are good at forgiving each other, at forgiving the emotions. Especially, it's very important we forgive the emotions and change our emotions, because when we keep our in emotions of resentment, sadness, we will close our hearts. And it's just, keep bringing negative things in a relationship. So when we say forgive, we really need to mean that and change our emotion with that person. So, and but this forgiveness doesn't mean that forgetting the boundaries. Imagine like in a relationship, violence is happening, cheating is happening, the things that like breaking trust over and over. Forgiving these things, like in long run, uh, put us in a miserable situation. So it's very important that we forgive, but still at the same time we set good boundaries. And also the other important things is like, we try to repair quickly. We don't, let the space happens and it takes too long. Try to repair as soon as possible. If you think like, okay, so it's not a good time to talk. I need to find myself. I'm angry now. I didn't have a good day. That's okay. Take some time. But try next day or when you feel better, sit down and resolve it. And this should be done with really good intention. And the other things that we can say is conflict, about conflict. The fact is that we have conflicts in a relationship. There is no relationship that is free from conflict. So Gottman research shows that it is not the number of conflicts, or like, it's not important. What's important is the style that couples resolve the conflicts. So the resolution style predict the future of a relationship. So for example, one thing that Gottman says, they have shown in their research that if between a couple, the good interactions, the number ratio to bad interaction is 1 to 5, is 5 to 1. The good to bad one is 5 to 1. So that relationship has good chance of, continuing in a future. But if it becomes less, for example, there are 2 or 3 bad interactions, and there are, for example, 5 good ones, but 2 and 3 bad ones. So this the ratio, is not right. So and it means that it is more possible in future that they break up. So they monitored couples and they could see that the couples who the ratio is 1 to 5, they had like longer relationship and more successful relationship in long run. So another important thing in relationship is empathy. So it's so important, like, Daniel Goleman's emotional intelligence theory says that empathy is the core of relational success. So why that's important? Because, all of us want to feel validated. So if a partner is not empathic, then they cannot understand our feelings and what's happening to us. And they if our partner minimize like what's happening in our world, or when we are sad or we are upset with something or bring some things, if they say, oh, you're always like that, or be a strong person, don't nag, and not validate our feelings, which people who are not empathic usually do that. So that's, really keeps us disconnected from our partners. So it's very important that the partners have empathy. And empathy is also, it is kind of a bit genetic as well. And some people, like, we know that some people are like, we have a ratio in the board that are psychopaths, which they don't have empathy. And they are kind of a born kind of with that. But it's also learning and their attachment style and how they are raised. And it's like it can be built through their life as well. So the other important fact is love. Love can be really painful sometimes. We need to accept that. Love comes with pains as well. It's not always like, those rosy moments and like, those bubbles. So the attachment theory says that especially insecure people with insecure attachment, um, they usually create more pain like in a relationship, but that is not always bad. Why? Because it's really induce so much growth in a relationship. When a relationship breakup happens or we experience pain in a relationship, then we usually go and search and say what is not right and what can we do to kind of improve the relationship. We usually self-reflect what I have done wrong, how can I do better. And with therapy, self-reflection, and also deeper future bonds, it can create deeper future bonds actually. So sometimes people go make breakup, work on themselves, and then they come back even stronger together. So usually like it's always pain in life. It's not always bad. So pain usually is creates so much growth. And so yeah, it's very important that we also um, know that when the pain comes through relationship, we try to work on ourselves. And we should know that relationship is kind of mirroring us. And we always encourage our partner that we grow together, we learn together, rather than anything happens leaving a relationship. So, and the other important things is like sometimes we need to let go a relationship, like it becomes so toxic a relationship. As I said, there is no reciprocity. It's abuse happening in a relationship, and we set the boundaries, but boundaries is like broken over and over. So in this time, I think it's the time that we let go of that relationship. So relational maintenance theory says that it's sometimes much healthier actually to leave a relationship rather having a dysfunctional relationship for a long time. And it can create, so much damage. So, but what happens, like, we break up. So, the thing is, it's very important after a breakup. We try to be respectful, and this should be mutual. And we need to move forward with respect and dignity, and try to learn from experience, and not to become a bitter person, and not to take resentments. Try to really let go of that and wish all the best when that happens for our partners after relationship breakup. So, and the last things I want to tell is like authenticity in relationship and diversity in love. So what does that mean? Authenticity means that we try to be authentic, be ourselves. We don't hide ourselves all the time. That doesn't mean that we say anything or we behave like, um, like in a not respectful way and like disrespect, because we would just want to be ourselves. We should be very like we should be very careful. I was like, I heard from like Alan de Botton recently. He was saying that it can be disastrous completely being yourself all the time in a relationship and saying whatever you think. We have so many thoughts in our minds every day, and it is very important that we don't need to share all of those with our partner. But authenticity means About the times that we need to be ourselves in a respectful way or anything, try to be ourselves. Like if we feel something wrong in a relationship, we try to say that. Um, the relationship that all the time we feel we are hiding ourselves or a part of us, we all the time need to hide. This is not a healthy relationship as well. So yes, there are things that we might, from time to time, not bring it to the relationship because they don't want to offend our partner. After a while, we know their triggers. We don't want to trigger them. So in every relationship, we need to know our partner's sensitivity and be careful about their triggers. Yeah, that's important. But if in a relationship we walk on an eggshell, like have you heard about that? Like you all the time have to hurt yourselves to satisfy the other person. That's not healthy as well. So, and the last thing I want to say is that everyone deserves love. It's a basic human thing. According to Maslow hierarchies, love is one of the fundamental human needs. So, people who have experienced trauma, sometimes they think they are unlovable, and unconsciously you hear that, oh, I don't need any love anymore. I'm happy with myself, or like, we hear this over and over from the people who hurt so much by love in the past. But love and attachment, we are born with attachment to our mothers and caregivers, and we die like in a relationship. So everyone needs that, and it's so important that we know that is a need and don't deny that. And if we think, oh, really, we are shutting down this part of ourselves, our heart is not open. So we work on that. We work on our wounds and traumas. So the other things like here is important is every person has a different love languages. So they look different, like love is different for every person. So it's very important we know our partner's love language. And for example, some people needed to act of service, they show that through act of service, doing something for us. Some people usually show love by like saying words, nice words, or it can be in different ways. Or some people like show by touching. So, and all people, usually most people use a mix of these things, but um it's just, stronger. It's important we know our partner's love language and ourselves' love language, and we know in a relationship. And we bring that together and say, okay, this is like, my love language, and what's your love language, and try to communicate in that way. So we reached to the end of the seminar. I hope like you liked it, and thank you very much for listening.